Okay, let's keep talking about these equations. We're going to start off and kind of review the one-step equations first, all right? So, step one in our one-step equations is to locate the expression, right? All right, so where's our expression right here? On the right or the left? The left. Our expression's on the left. Expression's on the left. So here's our variable term. Here's our constant term. We're going to do things in alphabetical order, right? So what is the constant term is plus 12. What's the inverse of plus 12?
Minus 12.
Minus 12. So we're going to subtract 12 from both sides. If you're not showing all of these steps just like this, I'm not going to accept your work. You have to show the steps, okay? Take your Chromebooks, turn them away from your face so that you're not paying attention to them right now. Now, put this in your calculator and you get 10. You put in 10 minus 12 and you're going to get a negative 2. 10 minus 12 is a negative 2, okay? On number 2, where's the expression? On the right or the left?
On the right.
It is on the right. It is on the right. Our expression g minus 9 is on the right. Here's our variable term. Here's our constant term. Constant term is a minus 9. What's the inverse of minus 9? Plus 9. So we're going to plus 9 on this side, plus 9 on this side, and we get g. Put your calculator. You're going to put in a negative 2 plus 9. The negative symbol's right beside the decimal. The negative symbol's right beside the decimal, and we get a positive 7. Number 3, where's my expression, right or left? It's on the left. The expression's on the left. And what operation is going on right here?
Multiplication.
Multiplication. So now we are going to divide both sides by a negative 7. And y equals, and you're going to put in your calculator, negative 91 divided by a negative 7. Negative 91 divided by negative 7 is a positive 13. Positive 13, okay? On this one, a divided by 9. Does everybody see that that's a divided by 9? If we're dividing by 9, what's the inverse of that? Multiplying by 9. So I'm going to show my multiplication with parentheses. I'm going to multiply by 9 right here, multiply by 9 right here. So A is equal to a negative 36. You put that in the calculator. Negative 4 times 9 is a negative 36. All right. All right, go back and check your answer right there. You're multiplying both sides by 9 right there. Does everybody see that? All right, so now, with these fractions, this says to multiply by the reciprocal. And in all honesty, we are going to do that, but really the calculator is going to do it for you, okay? Because if I divide a fraction, you know, you keep it, change it, flip it. If I divide by a fraction, I have to multiply by the reciprocal, right? Right? So, but we don't have to do that step mathematically because it does it for us in the calculator. All right? So we're not going to show that as multiplying by the reciprocal. We're actually going to show it as dividing by this fraction. Because when we divide by a fraction, we are multiplying by the reciprocal. Okay? Does that make sense? All right. So 2/3 times x means I'm going to divide both sides by 2/3. And x equals, and so in your calculators you put 10 divided by 2/3. Do what? 15. Okay. So x equals 15. Right here, 4/9 is being multiplied by w. So to solve this, I've got to divide both sides by 4/9. And w equals, so what is negative 8 divided by 4/9? Negative what? Negative 72 over 4. What is that? Huh? It's negative 15? 18? Negative 18? Do y'all agree? I just don't have my calculator up here, so. All right, questions about that? All right, take a second, copy that, and then I'll move on to the next one. Huh? It's not a Z, it's an equal sign that just got wonky. Okay, number 7. Negative 6/5 is being multiplied by K, so I've got to divide negative 6/5. So I'm dividing by negative 6/5, dividing by negative 6/5, and K equals, what's 12 divided by negative 6/5? Negative 10. Is that right? You writing all this down? Is that negative 10? Is that right? All right. And then negative 1/2 times M, that means I'm going to divide both sides by negative 1/2. And M equals a positive, because a negative times a negative is positive, a positive 18. Check my math. Negative 9 divided by 1/2 should be a positive 18. Is it? Okay. Questions about that? So that multiply by the reciprocal we are doing that. We're just not sure, because to multiply by a reciprocal, you're really dividing by a fraction, okay? So we're doing that step, but the calculator's actually doing it for us, okay? All right, 2-step equation. 6x plus 8 equals 50. 6x plus 8 equals 50. Where's your expression? On the right or the left? The left. The expression's on the left. So I'm going to come over here to the left, and I'm going to identify my constant term as plus 8. My variable term is 6x, right? So I start with my constant term. We're going alphabetically, right? Move that out of your face. We're going alphabetically. So I start with C. I have a plus 8. What is the inverse of plus 8? Minus 8. So I'm going to minus 8 from both sides. Bring this down, and that's 6x equals 50 minus 8 is 42. Now I have a 1-step equation, don't I? So now I'm going to divide both sides by 6, and x equals 7. Number 10. Where's my expression? On the left or the right? The left. So now I want to find, here's my constant term is negative 5 or minus 5. My variable term is 2n. We're going to do this in alphabetical order. Minus 5, what is a inverse of minus 5? Plus 5. So I'm going plus 5 here, plus 5 here, and 2n equals 16. Now I divide both sides by 2, and n equals 8. You need to show all of these steps, okay? You see this? You getting it? Okay. Number 13 is my my expression on the right or the left? The right. My expression's now on the right. But nothing changes. Here's my constant term is a plus 9. My variable term is a negative 4k. I've got to zero out or do the inverse of my constant term, which is a plus 9. What's the inverse of plus 9? Minus 9. So I minus 9 here, and I minus 9 here. Negative 4k equals 13 minus 9 is 4. Now I divide both sides by a negative 4. And k equals a negative 1. Armand? You're going to get this, get what you can, okay? And then you'll have, all right, number 12. Is my expression on the right or the left? It's on the left. Here's what is my constant term now? My constant term is a positive 7, and my variable term is a negative 3y. Do you see that? My constant is a positive 7, and my variable is a negative 3y. If my constant's a positive 7, what's the inverse of plus 7? Minus 7 here, minus 7 here. That gives me negative 3y is equal to 34 minus 7 is 27. Divide both sides by negative 3. And y equals a negative 9. Check my math. Check it on your calculator. Make sure I didn't make a careless mistake. Questions? All right, so now on the back, I want you to go to the bottom of the back. We're going to do 19 through 22 first, and then we'll come back and see how much time we have for you to and go over these. We may end up having to let you finish these, and then we'll go over them first thing tomorrow, okay? But let's do 19 through 22 right quick. I'm going to do number 19 and number 20, give you about a minute or two to do 21 and 22, and then we'll come back and check them, okay? So number 19, remember, these are the odd man out. These are the ones that we have to do something different. It's a little bit different. And what we're going to do here is what we call rationalize the denominator. We're going to get rid of that denominator first, okay? We're going to take care. I don't want that denominator. I want him out of the way. I need him gone, okay? So we're going to do that first. So what's happening here? X plus 11 is being divided by 8, right? So if I'm dividing by 8, what is the inverse of dividing by 8? Multiplying by 8. So what I'm going to do to rationalize this, put your eyes on me. What I'm going to do to rationalize this is multiply both sides of my equation by 8. So I'm going to multiply by an 8 here and an 8 here, okay? What that does is that ends up giving me a 1 right there. And I get x plus 11 equals negative 3 times 8 is a negative 24. So basically, you're kind of doing things a little bit in reverse order. But you got to get rid of that denominator first, okay? This is the only type problem right now that you'll have right now that where you do the multiplication or the division first, okay? Now I have my constant term 11 and my variable term x. I subtract 11 from both sides, and x equals a negative 35. Okay? Let's do this next one. My expression's on the left. I have a denominator that I want to get gone because I've got an expression on top of a denominator, right? I've got an expression being divided by something. When my expression's being divided by something, I want to get rid of that denominator. I want that division. We're gonna inverse the division first. Okay? When my expression's being divided by something, I want to do the inverse of that first. All right? So what's the inverse of dividing by a negative 2? Multiplying by a negative 2. So I'm going to multiply by negative 2 on both sides. And that leaves me n minus 5 right here. Negative 7 times negative 2 is a positive 14. Everybody see that? So now I'm going to add 5 to both sides. This is my constant term. This is my variable term. I add 5 to both sides. And n equals 19. Okay? I want you to take about 2 minutes, and I want you to do 21 and 22, and then I'm going to come back and do them with you. Where's your expression on 21 and 22? It's on the right. So be careful, make sure you see that expression on the right. Do that, and then I'm going to come back and go over them with you. Okay, let's do 21 and 22. So where's my expression? On the right or the left?
Right.
The right. So my expression is being divided by a -6, isn't it? So if my expression is being divided by a -6, I want to do that operation first. So I'm going to multiply both sides by a -6. And I get a minus 13 on the right and a -6 on the left. Because -6 times 1 is -6. Here's my constant term. Here's my variable term. So I'm going to add 13 to both sides. And a is equal to a positive 7. Did you get that? Did anybody not get it that has a question? You have a question? What is it? Huh?
I somehow got 78.
Say one more time.
I somehow got 78.
Did you multiply 6 times 21 by any chance? I don't know. Look at what did you divide? Did you multiply both sides by -6 first? Did you multiply 13 times -6 instead of? All right, look, you're not multiplying this. You're not multiplying, because what we're actually doing is multiplying by the reciprocal, but we're not. You know, I mean, we are, but we're not, all right? I'm not going to get into all of the ins and outs of what's happening right there. I'm kind of teaching you the shortcut at this point because it's just more, I think it would muddy the water too much, okay? All right, so look, Henry, when you, on this side, the -6 doesn't change anything. It just gets rid of that -6, or it turns that -6 into a 1, and this is all that's left on that side. Okay? All right, over here, we're multiplying both sides by a 9. So we get 36 is equal to W plus 8. Then we subtract 8 from both sides, and W equals 28. Questions? Okay? So I want you to go back now in the last few minutes that we have. Well, we got just a few minutes. All right, has everybody got this? Let's go ahead and, let me see these. I'm going to work. I'm going to do number 17 and well, let's just do them all. Let's start at 13. We'll get as far as we can, okay? Starting at 13. So is my expression on the right or the left? The expression's on the left. So if my expression is on the left, that means I've got to identify, here's my variable term. Oops. Here's my variable term. Here's my constant term. So that means I'm going to be adding 7 to both sides. And that b divided by 2 is equal to 16, right? Now let me tell you about a very common mistake right here. I can tell you right now, the answer choices for this problem, if it were a multiple choice, will be or something similar to this. I'm just making those up. What do you think the answer to this is? What is the answer? B equals what?
I think it's 32.
Huh?
32. Positive.
All right, so Austin says C, Olivia says A. You said C? Anybody else say anything different? How many of you initially your knee-jerk reaction was to say A? Come on, be honest, because this is a huge thing. It is a very, very, very common mistake. 2 will go into 16 evenly, won't it? But we're not dividing right here, guys. What have we got to do to both sides? We got to multiply by 2 on both sides. And I'm going to tell you something. I cannot tell you the number of people who miss problems like this because when they get to this step, They see that their brain goes straight to those two numbers and they automatically go, oh, that's 8. I've even made that mistake, just carelessly. It's something your brain does, okay? So be very, and I promise you 8 would have been an answer choice because they know that's a mistake you're going to make. So talk yourself through it and make sure you say V is being divided by 2. So the inverse of that is to multiply by 2, okay? When you see the division like that, go on and put your parentheses. Make your brain say, okay, brain, parentheses, we got to multiply. Because I'm telling you, when these two numbers right here are evenly divisible by each other, one of the biggest mistakes you make is dividing that in your head and not thinking about the fact you should be multiplying. Okay? It's a brain thing because I've done it myself. All right? So, this means V is equal to a positive 32, which is C. Okay?
Wait, Miss Mason, how did you get V?
It should be an X. I put a V instead of my I'm sorry. It should be an X. Thank you, Winter. That should be X. I just make up my own variables as I go through the problem. Okay? All right, number 14, where's my expression, on the right or the left? It is on the right. So my variable term is here, my constant term is here. So I've got to go with I've got to go in alphabetical order, which means I'm going to do the inverse of plus 8, which is the minus 8 on both sides. Which is, so I get 3 here, and C divided by negative 5. Now, look at the difference at this step and this step. On this step, your brain doesn't even try to do anything with that negative 5 and that 3, does it? But over here, it tried to make it an 8, didn't it? You see the difference? And that's what I'm telling you. That is huge. But so when you see this division, like, go on and do those parentheses and force your brain into saying, hold up, we got to multiply. Okay? So we got a negative 5 here and a negative 5 here. So C is equal to a negative 15. Questions? Anybody? All right. Now we've got, all right, so is my expression on the right or the left? The left. To the left, to the left. All right, C, D. I'm subtracting 22 from both sides. So 3/5 X is equal to 6. Is everybody with me there? Now we're going to divide both sides by 3/5. And X equals 10. How am I doing that in my head so fast? Let me show you something. Look right here. 6 divided by 3/5 is really 6 times 5 over 3, right? Which is 6 over 1 times 5 over 3, if you think about it, right? 6 times 5 is 30, divided by 3 is 10. So when I look at this, I'm just multiplying that number and that number. 6 times 5 is 30, and then I divide by that 3. But you don't have to do that in your head. That is a calculator thing. But you do need to be aware that those mental math strategies will come in handy. But always check yourself. That's why I tell you, check me with the calculator. Check me with the calculator. Because I can make a mistake. Okay? I want you to do these 3. When you come in here tomorrow, you need to have these 3 done. Okay? Because, listen to me. I'm sorry. It's Monday. Listen to me. You will not get good at this if you are not practicing doing it without me. You got to practice doing it without me, and then you'll know which questions you have. Okay? Is everybody with me? All right. Pack it in. It's time to go to the bathroom.